Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lori Bradner with the Florida Aviation Network, and we are broadcasting live from the Aerospace Center of Excellence right here in the heart of Sun and Fun. This year, ladies and gentlemen, we are celebrating the 42nd annual Sun and Fun with a tribute to our United States Air Forces. I am actually honored and so pleased and so excited to introduce my next guest, Mr. Eugene, actually Captain Eugene Nock. Captain Nock, thank you for being here. And I must tell you, you are here to talk about one of the coolest aircrafts we have at Sun and Fun, and that is the Batcopter.
Right.
And so, Captain Nock, can you tell us, it certainly speaks for itself. It is a spectacle unto itself. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of the Batcopter and how you got involved?
Well, first of all, the history of the Batcopter goes way back to the early 60s, television in Van Nuys, Los Angeles area. So that particular machine was owned by National Helicopter that did all the early TV shows. I Love Lucy, Batman, Green Hornet, ABC Wide World of Sports,
the awesome classics.
Oh yeah, the FBI. All of those shows had a contract with National, and National provided what we call aerial platform. Even in its infancy, they had the early Tyler mount. The Tyler mount is the gyro mount that was literally the first motion camera for pictures to fly in the helicopter. So the Batcopter was that machine.
Okay.
In the historical paperwork, the logbooks, we have all the historical paperwork that goes straight back to '64 when they started all that. That's the way it is with these flying machines. We keep all that.
Right.
So it is a significant aircraft, historically significant in multiple places. One that it is definitely part of early television motion picture film and aviation. And then not to mention it was in front of the camera used as the Batcopter, and forevermore it's famous. It literally in the 60s already had a baseball card, 3 different shots of it with Adam West, Burt Ward, Batman Robin sitting in it, standing next to it. And then the N number is clearly seen, N3079 or Gulf.
Yes.
So if you look that up on the FAA's website, you'll see that it's owned by my company, and the FAA even acknowledges it's the Batcopter. It says the Batcopter on it, you know.
I love it.
So yeah, no, everybody loves it. Yeah.
No, and you know what? What's the beauty of it is, it's recognized by young and old alike.
Yeah.
Everybody
All
recognizes it. From age 1 to 101, they recognize the Batcopter. Now, I must ask you, how did you get involved? I'm always very nosy, and I would love to hear a little bit about your background, how you got involved with aviation, and then how on earth did you get involved with the Batcopter?
Yeah. Well,
there's a story there.
Yeah,
isn't there?
there's a story.
There is a story. Okay,
Yeah,
I love
well,
stories.
I mean, if you want to go way back, 1970, my dad and I were over at St. Pete Albert Whitehead Airport.
Yes.
1970. I was 10 years old, and the Cessnas were flying over our head.
Yeah.
And I just knew at that time I'm going to fly airplanes. That's it. So the funny thing was, Dad was looking to buy an Airstream trailer.
Okay.
So as a 10-year-old, I told my dad, "How much does an Airstream trailer cost?" He told me the number. So I found out that Cessnas and Airstream trailers were about the same money back then.
Okay.
So I told Dad, "Let's just get the Cessna. I'll fly it, and we can live in it too. It'll be great." This is the mind of a 10-year-old, okay?
That's awesome.
It is funny though.
That is awesome.
So, yeah, it is
And
funny.
then when did you, did Dad, I must ask, did your father do that?
No.
No, okay.
No, that didn't work.
That didn't work.
We did get the Airstream.
So how did you take that love and that passion that obviously was ignited at a very young age? Where did you go?
We had friends in the flying business at the time, you know, that fly. I've always been around people that fly for a living.
Amazing.
The private pilots, yes, but mostly commercial pilots were always our friends. And in fact, air show pilots have always been. My background is in entertainment. My dad is a producer in the entertainment business. He did live events and television shows. So it's kind of part of the business was knowing everybody, you know what I mean, the showbiz. So a lot of people in showbiz had airplanes back then. Now almost everybody does. Everybody gets their own private aircraft. But I was just lucky. I started flying in 1976.
Okay.
I got my pilot license by, I think, late 1977. and I already had my commercial airplane license by 78, 18 years old.
Wow.
And then it just continued on. I had an airline transport pilot by 1983, and I got a job flying freight, night freight. I think everybody that's worth their salt in aviation has flown freight, you know.
Builds hours.
Oh yeah, it is what it
Absolutely.
is. And I was a flight instructor for a number of years.
Okay.
And I always laugh, I actually paid the bills with a Cessna 150 and a 172, selling day and night instruction. It is what it is. You know,
I love it.
Yeah, no, we did. It was good. I had a lot of great students.
Now, tell me, how did your involvement with the Batcopter, did that stem from your history in the entertainment industry? How did the two come together?
It's funny. They're not related at all.
Okay.
The two things that are separate. Number one, get back to entertainment. Dad is a producer and an entertainer in the live event business.
Okay.
So in the late 60s, we were in Los Angeles, and a guy named Al Dobrich had the largest events. They call them circuses, but they were big. He did everything large. In Los Angeles, he'd get the convention center, rent it, 10 days. He had an unbelievable turnout, and he would hire TV stars every night to be the attraction. So it just so happened he had Bob Hope, he had Phyllis Diller. These are all names from the old days.
Yes.
And I met everybody. Lucille Ball, who I've met and talked to and have her autograph. And then, of course, Adam West and Burt Ward and Cesar Romero. These were all actors that were available for events as well as being in their TV shows. So their dressing rooms were here, where our dressing rooms were over on this side. So as a young person, I met everybody. They were just people to me, entertainers that worked with my dad, and that was it. So I happened to start flying years later, and aviation is an occupation. I was a captain for Commuter Airways for a number of years, and flew freight, like I told you, and then corporate charter with airplanes for many years. And then I started a helicopter service with one machine. Inside of 5 years, we had 4 machines. And the helicopter service is successful if you work at it, and I did. So basically focused on it, as well as I still knew everybody in entertainment, and I became a producer of live events myself for the Six Flags amusement park chain, and also Disney and also SeaWorld, depending on what contracts. Independent producers are needed in these jobs. So the Six Flags company was owned by Warner Brothers at one time, and they owned all those parks. So they had the rights to everything that belonged to Warner Brothers, which was Bugs Bunny and Batman and Superman.
Right.
So therefore, they would name their roller coasters after some of the superheroes. They had access to all the real costumes.
Yeah.
So I personally was in charge of 4 amusement parks for Six Flags. One was Great Adventure in New Jersey, which is a very large park. And then the next one was Atlanta, which is a pretty good sized park. And then we had Dallas, which is probably everybody's favorite, Arlington, one of the oldest parks. And then also Denver. So I personally was in charge of all 4 of those. And they were called the Carnival of Chaos Stunt Show, the Batman Stunt Show. And what this is a completely licensed stunt show with a real working Batmobile, 60 deep, 100 wide stage, with real buildings, with a real 2,500 seat stadium with music, and this is Warner Brother approved and written by the people that are in charge of that show, and I was their producer of that show, and I enjoyed it. We did that for a number of years. So at the same time, not related whatsoever, I'm a pilot too, for a living. Just happened, you know, when your dad's in one business and you go in another, you kind of marry these two businesses together. Well, one day in 1996, I'm looking to buy another helicopter to add to our fleet for our purposes. We happen to like the Bell model because of the view on them at the time. They're very good for what we're doing, a professional tour operation. All right, so I negotiate with a few people. Finally, I talk to somebody out in California. They send me the logbooks. I send them a deposit. I was just basically with helicopters, it's based on the number of hours remaining on parts. I had no idea it was a Batcopter. We don't know this. We just know we're buying a helicopter, a Bell, what we want. Has to do with the engine time, main rotor blade time, tail rotor blade time, transmission time, grips, you know, main rotor head, they're very expensive. Things like that. It all matters on the price.
Everything checked out.
Well, yeah, like main rotor blades on a 47 or a Jet Ranger, they're $50,000 each. So then they're only good for 5,000 hours. So like when you're going to buy one, you better be very ready to know all the times on it to know what you're paying for. That's how we approach buying flying machines. But anyway, well, I'm sitting in the office, and I have my young son with me, and he happens to be watching with VHS the Batman TV show. Happens to be Charles, my oldest.
Right.
And I'm flipping through many logbooks. It's typical of 60s helicopter.
Right.
And I see 1966. It says right here, Batman, ABC News, Worldwide Sports, Batman. I look at Batman. What's that? It's written in the logbooks.
Right.
And so then I look at the name of the pilot that put all this in there, and that was Harry Haas. Harry Haas is a very famous television movie helicopter pilot.
Okay.
Any movie with helicopters that was done in LA,
okay,
60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, maybe even into early 2000s, was Harry. He's the man. He did it all. Breakout.
Wow.
Of course, Batman, Green Hornet, and the FBI TV series, like I said, MASH. Any of those you see, he did it.
He did
RoboCop.
it. Yes, he did it.
Blue Thunder. He's the guy that flew all those helicopters. He's just one of those guys. You know?
Yes.
So his name is littered all over this logbook in many, many places. He even crashed it, and then he fixed it. Because he was a real pilot, too. Not just doing, when I say real pilot, he did what they call long line, surveying, all the hard work that helicopters do in the old days, including fire and suppression and fire inspection. They go out there looking for fires, you know.
Right.
In some of those summer times in
So
California.
he did it all.
He did it all.
Amazing.
So, it was kind of odd. I have the deposit sent to them, looking at all the logbooks. It says Batcopter here. I see the N number, flipping through it, and I'm listening to the TV show. And all of a sudden I look at it, and they're pulling it out of the hangar in the TV show, and it's VHS. Remember how bad quality it was? So the N number is clearly
we just
seen.
dated ourselves,
oh, yeah,
by
of
the
course.
way. I'm sorry about that.
By the way, I'll be 56 next week.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, happy early birthday.
Yeah, thanks.
That's awesome.
So, but the funny thing is, the son is watching the VHS movie.
Right.
And I will walk right up to it and click, go back, click, go forward. Try to stop, but it won't. It's not like like it is now that you can stop it. So I have to write each number down. I finally get through it. I go back to the logbook. It's the same N number. So then back then, everything was microfiche.
Yes.
With the FAA. And it took a while to get the registration to confirm all this and who owned it. So you go flip through it. So there's a very excellent way with the federal government to make sure what you're buying is true. You know, it's all federal paperwork, the registration, the N number, all the historical info. You know.
Okay.
So it took me a couple of weeks to absolutely 100% confirm that it really is that.
Could you believe it?
No, not at all. I was excited though.
Right.
Yeah, no, I was happy.
Right.
So then a friend of mine happened to say, hey, you know what? There's a picture of that helicopter over at the collectible comics store in downtown. I said, oh yeah?
Okay.
Show me. So they went over there, took a Polaroid, and it was exactly the helicopter we're talking about. Yeah, Polaroid.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course we're dating. So that was the funny part, is all this information came around. So with that, of course, we're very happy with our new ownership of the Batcopter. And when we did a 1,200-hour inspection and overhaul, everything new, my intention was just to actually work it as a regular helicopter. It is the Batcopter.
Right.
It had the Bat logo on it. It said Batcopter on the side of it. But my job was to use it in charter. That's it. Okay? Well, I do a Japanese television show, and I'm on the set for 6 days.
Okay.
And all we're doing is camera work for the helicopter. I'm getting paid for my regular Screen Actors Guild pilot work. That's it. And on the last couple days, the interpreter comes over and says, I'll do the accent
Oh, please,
for you.
yes,
Yeah.
we love that.
Excuse me. The producer would like to know why is the Bat logo on there? Now, we've been out in the sun for 6 days already. Like hot, you know?
Right.
Because it's a Batcopter. That's all I said. Excuse me? Explain? Because it's the Batcopter. So I explained it later, and then that's it. Why do you have it? I said, I don't know. What do you mean? Yeah, I know. I own it, and it's flying, and tried to make it real simple, and it's charter, and now you guys can use it.
Right.
So that was it. Well, it turns out not a week later, I get a call from those guys, and they want to do a TV show on Americans and their crazy toys. This is back in those days, in the early 90s. late 90s, 98 or so. So that started, next thing I know, I'm getting calls to do things that are not charter, not flying it. Comic conventions, events, car shows, hot rod shows, things like that. This thing has intrinsic value as just being the bat thing that it is. So, so it is just, you have to keep up with the phone, and people do want to hire you for events. And then, you know, like in these air shows, we are ICAST members, and we have been for many years.
Okay.
I was ICAST long before this anyway, before I got the Batcopter. 20 years already. And so with ICAST, we've been working all these air shows, which is Sun and Fun here. Oshkosh, of course, was a fantastic air show. World class, too.
Yes.
Sun and Fun is fabulous. But Oshkosh, when you go around there, somebody will come up to you from Australia, South Africa. It really is, it is amazing. So these are the EAA-based shows. And then, of course, over the years, we've done the Chicago Air and Water Show, which is a 3 million person show. And then the Fort Lauderdale Air and Sea Show, which is a multi-million person show. This year we're doing Detroit Air Show, and also, which is a large show. And then also one of the top 5 in the United States, the Cleveland Air Show, which is wonderful also. And then in addition to those, we're doing some of the biggest comic conventions in the United States. This year we're going to be at East Coast Comic Con in New Jersey at the Meadowlands, and then also at MegaCon right now in May. And MegaCon is about 100,000 people in Orlando at the convention center. So it's our Batmobile. And
you're the star now.
No. I'm part of a group.
You're part of a group.
And you have to be, yeah. The star is Adam West. He's Batman. And Bert, and he's Robin. That's where it starts if you're going to a Comic-Con. So then it becomes the 66 TV show reunion, which is what's happening in 2016. It's 50 years of Batman TV show.
That's right. Now let me ask you, you mentioned this as well, because one of the things that, of course, one of my son's favorite things in the air show, of course, is the Batcopter, because they know the superhero, they know that.
That's great.
But there's also the Batmobile.
That's right.
Now, do you own that as well? Excuse my ignorance. How did the two tie together? And I think you mentioned in the briefing that it was sold, or talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, the original Batmobile, what we call the #1 car, was built by Lincoln Ford in 1955 for their auto show, Detroit Auto Show. And they've got Italian designers. Ford always spent a lot of money doing things beautiful. And you got to give them a lot of credit. The Lincoln lines always were very good looking cars. So it started in the mid-50s. And if you look at the car that they built that later became the Batmobile, you can see a lot of the Edsel, the Lincoln Mercury cars, just so many different designs that they just used them on so many different of their cars. So that particular car was used in a movie with Glenn Ford, and it was called, actually I forgot the name of the movie.
It'll come to you.
Yeah, it'll come to me.
It'll come to you.
But it was a really cool movie. So they only did one movie with it, and then after that, basically as things go, the car got shelved, and a guy who's a hot rodder who invented hot rodding is George Barris, and he acquired the car, and he created the Batmobile for a contract he had, which was the Batman television show. So the Batmobile is a one-off car, metal car we call it. Then he had body guys, and one of them was Bob Butts, and Bob Butts did castings off the #1 car. So they have a handful of them, Bob Butts bodies. So when you have a Bob Butts body Batmobile, if you're a car collector, that's the one that's significant. So we have one of those.
That's amazing.
And it's here on the ground still.
Yes, I was going to ask you here at Sun and Fun, because I know I have the best job in the world because I get to touch you and talk to you and see you, and it's fabulous. But for all of our Florida Aviation Network, for all of our fans that are out there and everyone at Sun and Fun, where I know that you're going to be in the air show, so talk to us a little bit about your schedule and when we can actually see this fabulous copter fly, and then also where can people find you if they want pictures with you or an autograph, or they want a picture? May they get a picture with the Batcopter? Tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, we're here to contribute to EAA, to make sure that EAA is successful and continues to be successful for the new generation.
Awesome. As a member, thank you.
Oh yeah, no, I've been a member since the 70s. And I happen to have 6 kids, all ages, from 32, 28, 26, And then I got remarried after 15 years being single, and I now have an 8-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 1-year-old.
Oh my!
And these little kids that I have,
Love it.
you know, you just don't realize it sometimes, but flying machines are cool. you
Yeah.
know. So you have to make sure that the new generation has access to general aviation, so we can inspire them to get into television, motion picture, film. We still need those people to grow up and be film pilots.
Yep.
Or emergency pilots, you know, medevac.
That's right.
Or of course in the military. That's basically what a lot of these air shows, the backbone is the military gets to show off our mighty muscle that we have,
Right.
and inspire young people to get into the military. That's the biggest push. So I am proud to own the, you know, arguably the best collection of Batman memorabilia in the world, right? But I do all the EAA stuff, and we're proud to be part of it.
Where are you located on the grounds? Where can
Right now,
people come
the
see you?
Batmobile has been over at the new high school club, you know, the flying club that we
Yes,
have, which
yes,
is right
the
over
Lakeland
here.
Aero Club. Awesome.
We are really proud of them. They have their own hangar now. They have some nice
They do.
airplanes. They have pits, and they've got 2 J3 Cubs, a
Yes.
Cessna 150. They got a collection. And so the Batmobile's there to help get awareness and attraction to them.
Perfect.
And it'll be here for the duration.
Okay.
And also, you know, of course, I'm really excited about my young kids are going to end up there also. So it's going to be a family affair.
I
you know?
love it.
Yeah, so that part's great. And then the Batcopter presently is in the air show hangar
Okay.
over at RDI.
And when does that fly? Can you tell me?
I
Today?
flew it yesterday.
You flew it yesterday.
I flew it over from Tampa and flew it here and landed and put it in the hangar. But it'll fly on Saturday night's show. We're
Okay.
one of the earlier acts, the Twilight part.
So we can see it?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. We got to see
Basically,
the symbol.
the Batcopter flies.
Okay.
Everything works. It's a very nimble machine. And then the Batmobile is a completely operational vehicle, complete with the fire that comes out the back.
It's so cool.
All the lights and all that. And it's just had a tune-up, and it's regular maintenance. We take care of it like it's a flying machine, so it's had all its maintenance reasonable. And so it'll be racing up and down the closest taxiway to absolutely everybody can see it.
Yeah.
And our narrator is pretty upbeat, and we have great music that goes with it, and the storyline explains. And of course, the bottom line is you have to inspire the young people out there, like I said, for becoming aviators, and you also have to educate them to stay in school. That's cool.
Thank you.
And have the superhero in all the young people to stay away from drugs. This seems to be a big problem these days.
Yes.
So if you just say the words so they hear it, and also let them be aware that doing well in school is cool.
Yes.
Being successful is what impresses people.
Yeah.
And then kids like that.
And when they do, that makes them a
Oh, yeah.
superhero. Well, I have to tell you, Captain Nock, it
Yeah,
is
my
an
pleasure.
honor to meet you.
Thank
I
you.
will be there
Alrighty.
to see the
Yeah,
Batcopter
hopefully you
fly
come
with
by, we'll
my
take some
children,
photos.
and we will
Great.
do that. Thank you so much for being an inspiration. Thank you for your message, not only as a pilot, as an aviator, as someone in the entertainment industry, but as a father.
Yes.
Thank you for talking to our students that are here. Ladies and gentlemen, please, you do not want to miss the Batcopter. We are so looking forward to having you, Captain Nock. We will look forward to seeing you tomorrow when you fly the night show, and you're going to be there right at twilight, so we'll see the bat signal. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lori Bradner. I'm with the Florida Aviation Network. We are live at the 42nd Annual Sun and Fun. Please don't miss it this year. It is absolutely wonderful. We've got fabulous weather. Come down and see us, and be sure to see the Batcopter and the Batmobile fly.